Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Gordon Block from Watertown Daily Times. We're here out in Alexandria Bay, where you've got a group of volunteers working together with the village DPW to install some floating docks to kind of counteract some of the high water levels that are hitting Alexandria Bay and pretty much all the municipalities in the Thousand Islands, pretty much any place that's bordering Lake Ontario. So I'm here on the boat of village trustee Nick Speech. I'll turn it around and show you what I'm looking at here in the bay. So we're just leaving the dock on Bethune Street, where we got our floating dock right here. I turn on over. Here's our captain here, Nick Speech, village trustee, and then we turn it around and show you what we're looking at here. Now, for those just kind of hearing about what's happening up here in Alexandria Bay, you had a couple of things working together to help the village. The main dock on James Street is the water is over the dock, has engulfed the dock. So you had a couple business owners helping out as far as getting floating docks to have on James Street. It's a pretty key one for downtown Alexandria Bay, in that it's a primary point for visitors to come into the downtown. So you have a donation from Bonnie Castle, and you have a donation, or you had some, or there were some docks that were purchased by a group of local businessmen that were then sold to the village of Alexandria Bay. And so between those, you're going to have about 500 feet of floating docks that can stretch from the shoreline in James Street out to the village dock finger slips right here that I'm just zooming in on. So we're just curling into the James Street area right here. Our floating dock. So Nick, I'll ask you, I mean, why is this James Street, or this area, so important for the village?
There's a lot of businesses down, all the businesses fall right down through this whole area, and all the boaters and the summer people love to come on. And you'll see it this weekend probably. This dock will be full out here if we get out, but they are not going to be allowed past this until this is tied together. The next weekend it will all be tied together. But it's very important for all the businesses to generate the income and revenues for the village.
I'm guessing it's also just a big part of life that you boat in, you park here at the dock slips.
Go get an ice cream cone, go get a cup of coffee, have dinner up at all the different restaurants. Yeah, it's a big thing boating over.
Gotcha. How exciting is it for you that you're having this kind of, people come together to?
I think it's great for the community that it shows that everybody that can come together and really work together with all the problems there are in the village, but now that there's push comes to shove, it's time to go to work. People go to work and they work together very well.
Oh, cool. Nick volunteering his boat to help bring down some of the docks to the James Street area. If you'll see, there's a boat ahead of us. I'll try to zoom in a little bit. We got a couple more volunteers. Ron Thompson, you got Steve with him as well. So you got a nice little group of people here that are trying to get this floating dock in place.
all back. We gotta spin a couple, we gotta figure it all out now. Huh?
If you're just joining us here, folks, we're here in downtown Alexandria Bay. We have a group of local volunteers putting together some floating docks to kind of serve as a quick fix, as the main village docks have been covered by the high water levels on Lake Ontario. They're just getting this installed today. They're gonna have a few more coming out over the next few days. So the hope is to have this all together in time for the Memorial Day weekend next weekend.
All positive stuff. Right now, these ears on the inside will be higher than the dock anyway.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, they're not.
Just got to deal with the outside.
Yep.
As you can see, the main village dock area has taken on some water. You can kind of see where the original dock should be, which is why we now have business owners, volunteers all come together to install the floating dock that can get people into downtown, make sure the village is running as they'd hope it could be for the businesses.
Inside you can leave for now.
So as you can see, these docks are starting to come into place, but there's going to be a few more shipments of these floating docks to get all the way out to the dock slips that are. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I can show you what I'm talking about. So they need to get the floating docks out to there. So that work will kind of continue over the next few days. The prediction right now is that these will not be ready for Victoria Day this weekend, but the hope is to have these floating docks in place in time for Memorial Day weekend, just coming up in just a few days here. Thanks to everybody who's watching this. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll see if I can ask and get some answers for you, or I might have some of the answers myself. But yeah, if you have any questions, just throw it in there. I'm seeing a question from Jeannie Anderson Joseph. The idea is that this would be a seasonal fix, and what the village would do with these afterward, that would be a decision for them later. But essentially, these are somewhat of a stopgap until the water levels recede. But for now, these can be in place, and they could boaters could hook onto these and come into the village downtown. But if there's any other questions, just throw it into the comments. I'll see what So what supports the floating docks? I'm understanding your question correctly, Jeannie Anderson Joseph. Thanks for the question. I think they're setting up some special brackets to make sure that this links in and is somewhat stable for people that are maybe coming into the boat. The one thing that they were telling me was that they're not, the people that are volunteering today, they won't be opening this until they can get these secured, that boats can be safe while latching on to this dock area. So. As you can see, the water levels are at record highs on Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence River. The all-time record, the records have been kept for about 100 years, and this past weekend, the water levels surpassed the record. So we are currently at record high levels on Lake Ontario.
Bring the torch out, let them torch up the one.
All right, well, it looks like things are going to be wrapping up for right about now, but more work's going to be happening. It's either going to be later today or into early tomorrow, and then some work happening early next week to get the final pieces of dock into place. They're being shipped in from Meaford, Ontario, Canada, so it's a little bit of a travel time to get them out here, but that work's going to be continuing over the next few days. But I think we're going to wrap our live broadcast here. Thanks so much for everybody who is watching this. We always appreciate you when you tune in, and we hope to catch you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.